Hey everyone, ready for another deep dive?
Oh, yeah.
This time we're tackling TikTok usernames, specifically how to pick a good one and how to change yours if you need to.
Right.
And our main source for all this juicy info is an episode from the SocialWick podcast.
They're like Instagram gurus, right?
Pretty much, yeah. Real data-driven, super serious about social media strategy.
A little too serious, maybe, but hey, that's where we come in, right?
Make it a little more fun, a little more, digestible.
Exactly. So, first things first, SocialWick had this huge EE warning about changing your username.
Okay, lay it on me.
30 days.
30 days for what?
That's how long you have to wait to change it again.
Oh, wow. Like a cool-down period, so you can't just keep switching it up every other day.
Nope, once every 30 days.
Okay.
So you better choose wisely the first time around, right?
I mean, that makes sense. It probably keeps things more stable on the platform. And for you, too.
Right. So that brings us to the next point. What even is a good username?
Like, what should we be thinking about when we're choosing one? Yeah, exactly. Because SocialWick was very particular about the difference between your username and your nickname on TikTok.
I've always wondered about that. They're different.
Totally different. Your username is part of your URL. It's the unique identifier.
And how people find you.
Right. Think of it like your TikTok address.
Makes sense.
Your nickname, on the other hand, that's more like a display name.
Oh, okay.
It doesn't affect your username or search results. It's more for like style points.
So it's all about branding then.
Exactly. Now, if you're thinking about changing either of these, SocialWick actually walks through the whole process.
Oh, like step by step.
Yeah, but it's all pretty straightforward. Basically, head to Edit Profile in the app and you'll see the options for both.
And I'm guessing the 30-day rule still applies for the username.
You know it. So be sure to take your time and choose carefully. Now for the fun part, SocialWick's tips for choosing a killer username or nickname. And they're all about maximizing your impact.
I like the sound of that.
Me too. Like, they really emphasize making it memorable.
I mean, that's crucial, right? If people can't remember your name, they can't find you, can't engage with you.
Exactly. It's all about sticking in people's minds.
It's like a catchy song. You want people humming your username, so to speak.
And that ties into their next tip, too. Keep it easy to spell.
Right. No one wants to be typing in a complicated username over and over. Or worse, getting it wrong.
Exactly. Then they get frustrated, they give up, and you miss out on a potential follower.
It's like you're putting up unnecessary roadblocks.
Okay, now this is where it gets strategic. SocialWick says your username should reflect your brand or style.
So like what you're all about on TikTok.
Yeah. What kind of image do you want to project? Are you going for professional or fun and quirky?
Right. It's got to match your vibe.
Your username is basically your first impression.
And last but not least, they talk about aligning your username with your niche.
Especially for content creators.
Makes sense. People should know what they're getting into just by looking at your username.
Right. If I'm looking for cooking videos, I'm going to click on the profile that says Cooking Queen before I click on something like GamerDude22.
Right. It's about attracting the right audience.
Yeah.
So much strategy packed into just a name.
I know. And I'm already noticing how all of these tips connect. They all feed into each other.
It's all about creating a brand that's cohesive, right?
Yeah. Yeah, and one that makes sense.
Super smart advice from SocialWick.
Seriously.
Yeah.
I'm kind of blown away by how much thought goes into this.
Me too. I always thought usernames were pretty simple, but...
There's a whole science to it.
And now we're like experts, right?
Well, maybe not experts, but we're definitely more informed than we were 10 minutes ago.
That's for sure. I'm already thinking about my own username now.
Me too. I'm thinking about tweaking things a little bit.
Maybe a little rebrand is in order.
Maybe. But before we get too ahead of ourselves, let's dive into some more of SocialWick's tips for creating that perfect, memorable username. Okay, so memorable usernames. Got it. But how do we actually make them memorable? Any tips from SocialWick?
Oh yeah, they had a few. One was wordplay.
Wordplay. Okay,
Yeah.
like what? Puns.
Puns, rhymes, anything that's catchy, rolls off the tongue.
It makes you smile.
Exactly. It should be fun. That's how it sticks in your head.
Right. And it ties back to that easy to spell thing, too.
For sure. The easier it is to remember, the easier it is to share.
And to find. And to type.
Absolutely.
Mm.
So, wordplay. Check.
Yeah.
What else did SocialWick have?
Okay, so this one was a little trickier, but they said your username should reflect your brand or style.
Yeah, that's a little abstract. What does that even mean?
Right. I was kind of stumped, too, but I think it boils down to keywords.
Keywords, okay.
Like, what words best describe your content?
Or your vibe.
Exactly. Are you
Right.
professional?
Woofy.
Inspirational?
Artsy.
Yeah. You got to figure out your brand and then make sure your username matches.
Like a little mini mission statement,
That's
right?
a good way to put it.
Packed into just a few words.
Exactly. And you know what? This whole branding thing made me think about my first TikTok username. It was terrible. So generic.
I know. What was it?
I don't even want to say it out loud. It was that bad, but it was because I didn't know what I was doing. I was trying to be everything to everyone.
You weren't being authentic.
Nope. And it showed. So I finally sat down and thought about what I really wanted to share with the world, what my style was.
And you came up with a better username.
So much better. Night and day. Just goes to show you, right? Be intentional. Be you.
It makes all the difference.
For sure. Okay, back to SocialWick. One last tip, and this one's especially for our content creators out there.
Hit me.
Align your username with your niche.
Niche, right.
Yeah.
That makes total sense.
People need to know what they're going to get from you just by looking at your name.
Like, if your username is Travel Guy 101 and I click on your profile, I'm expecting travel content.
Exactly. Don't be posting cooking videos on a travel account.
People will get confused. Unfollow.
That's the opposite of what we want.
Totally. And you know what's cool about aligning with your niche? It actually helps you build a brand.
Oh, yeah. If you're consistent, people start to recognize you. Across platforms, even.
It's like your signature.
Wow. We are learning so much from SocialWick. Even though they're all serious and stuff.
They know their stuff, though, right?
For real.
Yeah.
So we've talked usernames, nicknames, changing them, choosing them.
All the good stuff.
But they threw us a curveball at the end. This really thought-provoking question.
I don't remember a question. What was it?
Well, remember they kept saying your username is part of your TikTok URL.
Yeah. So
how does that affect your strategy for other social media platforms?
ooh. Now that you mention it, I do remember them saying something about that.
Right. Like, what about cross-promotion?
Right.
And consistency in your branding?
Bigger than just TikTok.
I don't know. It's like our minds are officially blown.
I'm kind of freaking out a little. Like, is my username working for me or against me?
Okay. Deep breaths. We can figure this out.
We got this.
But first, maybe a little break. My brain needs to process all of this.
Yeah.
Yeah, my brain is a little fried too. But I think this is good. Like, we're thinking about our usernames in a totally new way.
It's like next level strategy.
So back to SocialWick's question about our other social media. How do we leverage that TikTok username to build a cohesive brand everywhere?
Well, I think it starts with consistency. Right?
Yeah. Like, if I'm trying to get people to follow me on Instagram, it's helpful if my username is the same on both platforms. Or at least similar.
Right. That way people can find you easily.
It just makes sense, and it builds that recognition.
Like, oh, hey, it's that TikToker I like.
They're on Instagram, too.
Gotta follow them.
Boom. Instant follower.
Exactly. It's like you're creating a network.
A network of you.
And your brand. Wherever people find you, it's the same you.
I'm starting to see the bigger picture now. It's not just about TikTok. It's about your whole online presence.
That's what SocialWick was getting at. They were thinking long term.
Big picture thinking. Gotta love it. You know, they might be super serious, but they really gave us a lot to chew on.
They did. I mean, I'm honestly impressed. They really know their stuff.
And we did a pretty good job of breaking it down, right?
They did a little less intense, a little more fun.
Just like we promised.
Mission accomplished.
So let's recap. We dove deep into TikTok usernames with the help of SocialWick. We learned about the difference between usernames and nicknames.
How to change them.
And most importantly, how to choose a name that will help you grow your TikTok and your brand as a whole.
Right. Think memorable, think easy to spell, think brand and niche.
So much good advice. Now it's your turn to put it into practice.
Experiment a little.
Yeah.
See what works for you. And don't be afraid to change things up every once in a while.
Just remember that 30-day cool down.
Right. Don't want to get stuck with a username you hate.
Well, that's all the time we have for today. Thanks for joining us for another deep dive. Until next time.
Happy TikToking, everyone.